Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, college football edition. Today is the last college football podcast of the 2022 football year. So we're closing it out. We got the L7C founders, Byron and Cedric, with us. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. Can't complain.
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Once again, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. We made it.
Yes, we made it to 2023 and the fourth season installment of the L7C podcast.
Insane. We've been at this for 4 seasons now.
Crazy. It's crazy. But lots happened in college football since we've been gone. We had a national championship and we had a semifinal. There was 2 semifinal games. Obviously, you knew Ohio State was in, Georgia was in, Michigan was in, TCU was in. The first game, which is a game of the year candidate, TCU shocked a lot of people. They beat Michigan 51-45. You heard that right. 51-45. In that third quarter, there was so much points going on, and TCU held out to beat the, at that time, undefeated Big Ten conference champs. What did you guys think of that game?
First off, I did call TCU.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
On the podcast. Just throw that out there. Man, that game was good, though. It was, I know the score was close, but TCU was pretty much dominating the first and second quarter until that offensive spurt by Michigan in the third quarter, but they were good. I didn't expect TCU to get, I know they had one, but they could have maybe had 2 pick sixes. No, they definitely had 1 pick six. I was not expecting that to the show.
They did have
defensive.
2. They had 2.
They did too. Okay, thank you. 2 pick sixes against Michigan. It was impressive. TCU looked really, really good that game to punch their ticket into the national championship.
Cedric, do you have anything you wanted to add about that game?
That game was really surprising. I mean, I chose wrong.
I did too.
TCU played really great. I honestly, I thought it was great because Michigan showed some grit and came back. I know Justin mentioned like the only way TCU could win is if they get up big. I mean, it worked out for them. Like they got up on a good lead, and at one point I thought they were just going to run away with it. I was like, oh well, there goes Michigan playing like poo. And then they got it together themselves and came back. It was like within 3. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this game?
You're right. I know the things we talked about. The last thing is like, and a lot of national people say, oh, Michigan's just going to out physical them. They didn't do that. Michigan's going to run all over them. They didn't do that. TCU was tough, man. Like they said, you're not going to come here and bully us, and you're going to have to get these things. And you're just sitting there like, wow, TCU beat Michigan, and you're sitting as a OSU fan like, man, if we can beat Georgia, we have a chance. And we get to that game, which another game of the year candidate. This was the best semifinals of all time in terms of closeness. Georgia and Ohio State. Byron, you were almost 2 for 2, but
Almost.
I know things happen, but the dogs, we called the dogs. Some of us called the dogs here, and it was the dogs, man.
It was the dogs. I did get this one wrong. I did pick Ohio State because I went with my heart, and my heart was almost right. Ohio State looked really, really good against Georgia. I know most people probably across the world picked Georgia to win because they didn't think Ohio State could hang with Georgia. And Ohio State proved they can hang with Georgia. CJ Stroud had an amazing game, 384 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think he had some rushing yards. But he looked impressive, made the right decisions at the right time. Our running game was a little but CJ Stroud, man, he proved he is one of the best college quarterbacks this season. It came down to a last-second field goal, which we shanked. It was a 48-yard field goal that we shanked which would have beat Georgia by 2 points, but instead Georgia ended up beating us by 1 point. Marvin Harrison Jr. did get knocked out of the game in the third quarter, just by kind of swung the momentum in Georgia's favor. But otherwise than that, I am disappointed. But overall, Ohio State looked good and proved they could hang with the SEC.
Yeah, because CJ, I really do think that was, in terms of big game, like that was his best game he's ever played in like a big game. Because also he showed the world, or more specifically draft scouts, he can run. Dude rushed 12 times, 34 yards, had a 27-yard run. Like, and we've never seen that CJ before. We've never seen that Ryan Day before be so emotional and all of that, showing that passion. And then with the Marvin Harrison thing, that did change the game. I feel like the game officially had that turning point when Kirby Smart called that timeout on that 4th and 1 when we were going to fake it. And someone up there is like, hey, they're faking, call a timeout. And that changed it all.
Yeah, I agree. Because we definitely would have gotten that 4th, and I think it was like 4th and 3 on that fake punt.
And they were not ready for it.
No, they were not.
Cedric, anything you want to add about this game that literally came down to the last field goal and the ball being kicked and dropped exactly at midnight?
Yeah, man, it was a good game. It was a lot closer than I expected. I mean, I'm 50%. I know, Byron, you're really close to being 100% right, man. I'm sorry. I wish I would have been 100% wrong, honestly. But it worked out. I mean, like you said, I didn't even watch the ball drop. Well, I watched the ball drop. I didn't watch the ball drop on time. Like that was literally like, to all the Georgia fans out there, great for you guys, because you got a really good like memory to be like, yeah, kids, I remember that New Year's Eve when the ball was, people were counting down. We were watching Ohio State kick that potential game-winning field goal, and when he shanked the hell out of that, let me tell you, that was the best way to bring in the new year.
You're right. There's going to be a whole bunch of Georgia fans that they're going to be talking about that New Year's Eve, New Year's forever. I would say that and I guess it's going to be tough going forward. My concern, though, was that fourth quarter, because we were playing so well, but then the defense we know, that we talk about, it was who we thought they were. We were up by double digits in the fourth, and we gave up 18 points in the fourth quarter.
Yes, sir.
The defense we knew, that fake defense we were like, that real defense that we knew came back. Because let's think about the beginning of the game, Georgia missed 2 field goals. Georgia had a pick. We had no mistakes. But that third quarter, and I mean the fourth quarter, those 18 points that we all know, that first and 10, and spin it through the 77-yard bomb. I was like, that is our defense. We're back to normal.
Hey, wide open too.
Bro, I mean, I don't know what y'all thought it was. Like,
I was just wondering when they were going to show back up.
I was just waiting for them to throw bombs. Like, I was waiting for Georgia to start throwing bombs. I was like Stetson Bennett threw for almost 400 yards. Like that's typical. As awful as it sounds, that's a Bennett fashion. I mean, the positive is he only threw for 3 touchdowns.
Stetson Bennett had 398 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had a rushing touchdown. Yeah,
but we sacked him a couple times. So he had negative pass yards, so we got to him a lot more than other teams.
Yes.
So, and all in all, like, I think that was a surprising performance because a lot of people, like you said, counted Ohio State all the way out. It's like, they're going to get dog walked by Georgia. They're going to get their asses kicked. Like, we'll be lucky if we're within like 20 points of them the way we played Michigan. And hey, 1 point, that's closer to Michigan's game.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And it was funny too. It was just, I mean, if you're just watching, like, and you're not a fan of any of these 4 teams and you're just a college football fan, you were having the time of your life.
Oh, yeah, New Year's Eve was the shit. That was the best. That was the best college football I may have watched since maybe the day all the games with Tennessee beat Alabama.
Yeah, I agree. Because it was just crazy, like those games, and like you were seeing the high plays and all of that. Like even like Harrison, he had 5 catches, 106, 2 touchdowns before he was out. Abuka, it's not like he was a slouch. The rest of the game, he had 8 catches, 112 for a touchdown. Like, we were getting... Now, the running, obviously, like, Dalvin Hayden, like, he had 43 yards, but we just couldn't mine. It just wasn't there for him. But there's nothing we can say. We just had to hang our heads high, and we're just like, dang. First time Big Ten gets 2 teams in the college football playoffs, and people are like, oh, we're going to get OSU, Michigan, the champion. It didn't happen.
And no, the rest of the world, the rest of the nation wasn't feeling that.
No, they were not.
Especially Georgia and TCU, because I imagine they were probably hearing nothing but that. They're like, these motherfuckers really think they're going to come up in here and replay their last week of football again. Like, no. Hell no.
Yeah, you're right, man. And I mean, obviously, Georgia was the number 1 throughout the whole year, and TCU was not supposed to be here at all. They finished 5-7 last year, and then with the first-year coach do what they did. They get to the title game, which was yesterday, the day of recording, and Georgia. If you saw the pregame thing with Kirby Smart, he said we're going hunting tonight, and that's when I knew. I was like, oh, this is good.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was before. It was probably when you were driving. It was before the game. He said we're going hunting tonight, and I said, oh, that ain't good.
That's the little boy on the bus from The Simpsons. I'm in danger.
Yes. And from opening tip, they were in danger. All of the things that could go wrong for TCU, everything went wrong. Absolutely everything. And
I fell asleep during halftime.
I mean,
like, it was
you didn't miss much.
bad.
It
was bad.
I mean, I thought when it was 10-7, I was like, all right, TCU's defense failed. They couldn't do anything. The offense couldn't do anything. And the final score was 65-7. You heard that right. Championship game was 65-7. TCU,
Bro, they had the backup in.
Yeah. TCU only scored in the first quarter. And the backup, like you said, came in because Stenson Bennett decided to go absolutely crazy. 304 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Yeah.
That nigga's a walking fantasy football magnet right there. That's just beautiful stats. Like, that is insane.
And then the best tight end in the country went off as well. Brock Bowers, who's coming back next year. 7 catches, 152, and a touchdown.
That's impressive.
For a tight end.
Yes.
For a fucking tight end.
It was kind of funny, too, that everyone scored on Georgia, but the starting running back, Kenny. I'm going to hold that to you, man. But TCU couldn't do anything, man. Georgia, it was over by halftime. Like, they couldn't even play for pride because they couldn't get any points whatsoever. And it's funny, too, because this time last year, probably Cedric's favorite episode of last year.
Oh, it is. It was.
was the apology because they won their first title in 40 years. And now a year later, they're back-to-back champs.
Back.
They're the shit, bro. Like, I saw, I know y'all saw the Twitter videos with Nick Saban on there. Like, man, Georgia football right now is back-to-back. They made it the best college football team right now.
Yep, running the program. I mean, I don't disagree, dude. They won 2 titles in a row.
Yeah.
It's just funny because Nick Saban's face is like, damn.
Hey, Pollock a real one. He said it to his face, too.
Yeah. And Pollock's from Georgia.
I mean, these fools really went off and went undefeated the entire year.
15. Yeah. They haven't lost a game since the SEC championship game against Alabama last year. They are 29-1 in the past 2 years.
Insane.
Can't do anything with that. You just can't fuck with that. Like, I'm sorry.
They're the first team to repeat in the college football playoff era, and they're the first team to repeat since Alabama in 11-12. So,
you think they're going to repeat next year?
Well, Byron, I'm glad you brought that up. Because I could read you their schedule right now, and it is ass water.
No.
Their first game is against the UT Martin Skyhawks.
All right, that's a win.
Then they play Ball State.
That's a win.
South Carolina.
Okay.
UAB,
That's the win. So that's 4-0 now.
Auburn, at Auburn.
Oh,
I want
what does TBD time?
All TBDs.
Well, nighttime at Auburn. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta keep an eye on that
then
one.
Kentucky.
Okay.
As Will Levis is graduating, right?
He's leaving for the draft.
It's not really a graduation. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of
Right,
like, you ain't staying here no more.
Yeah.
Right.
Vanderbilt.
Oh, no one gives a fuck about them.
October 21st is their bye week. Then they're at Florida. Their usual mutual game against Florida at the Jacksonville.
Okay.
Missouri.
That's
Old
They
Miss.
struggled against Missouri this year, so we're probably coming out.
Missouri was their closest game. Second closest because we beat them we lost by 1. They only lost.
Right.
Yeah, Missouri was their closest game of the regular season, which is great. Old Miss.
Okay.
I wish all these people came back because I put money on this right now. November 18th at Tennessee. I wish Hooker and Hyatt were coming back, man. I really wish they could.
Oh man, that would have been a good game if they both came back.
And then they finish at Georgia Tech. I don't see them losing right now. I don't see them losing a game.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Ooh, South Carolina that's when I was really on my hate Georgia because they would always fuck them up.
South Carolina been was doing extra shit late this past
season. Yes, they were. Spencer
Mm-hmm.
Rattler.
That nigga felt jaded. He's like, all right, Lincoln, not only are you going to take my starting job, but then you're going to leave and I can't go back? Like, what the fuck? Like,
that's a good point. It's just, obviously right now we don't even know who the quarterback for Georgia is going to be because Bennett should be graduating. So, he should be.
Also, to all the people who be talking about this man's like 30 years old, like he's 24.
Which off record I'll have to say because there was one tweet I saw from someone we all know that was very stupid and the bloodline would never be on this podcast. But
excuse me,
no.
But right now it's interesting because I just want you guys to then because now we're just going forward. What do we have to do to get back to national championship game and then actually win? Because I want to read you guys the last 10 champions going back to the last BCS Bowl 2013.
Okay.
Obviously 22 and 21 Georgia. 2020, Alabama. 19 LSU. 18 Clemson. 17 Alabama. 16 Clemson. 15 Alabama. That's when Alabama and Clemson were eternal rivals. 14 was us, Ohio State, and the last one in the BCS, Florida State. Obviously, you see that we have Clemson, 2 ACC teams in the past 10 years, 1 Big Ten team, and the rest
SEC. Yep, only 4 years out of the last 10.
Yeah,
has been someone not from the SEC, and 2 of them are Clemson, 1 Florida State.
Yeah. So what do we? Yeah, both were in the ACC, which is the ACC has more titles in the past 10 years than the Big Ten. Put that in perspective.
Wow. It's very simple to put in perspective. It's only been us, damn it. Until the past 2 years, it's only been us.
That is true. Michigan State went to the playoffs in 2015 when they beat us, and then they lost 38-0. I was like, oh. But then back then, I would have told me to be humble because the next year we got blanked. So,
all I know is out of the teams that go, we the only ones that have won. So
that is true. We're the only Big Ten team to
win the first game and the second.
Yeah,
so,
we're only Big Ten team with college football playoff wins, which is crazy too because with TCU beating Michigan, they're the only Big 12 team with college football playoff wins.
And so it's still a drop for good old Harbaugh over there. I saw you haven't won a bowl game in a minute, baby. What's going on?
He's like 1 in 5 or 6 in the past bowl in his bowl game. So it's crazy. I don't know what we have to do because obviously looking forward, we also are going to need to get to see who our starting quarterback is going to be. And I just want you to compare. I read Georgia's schedule. I just want to read ours to you guys. I know we've read this before. All TBDs. We start Big Ten play at Indiana, then Youngstown State, Western Kentucky. September 23rd.
Notre Dame, right?
Yep, who they just got that big transfer. Maryland. October 14th, we are at Purdue.
Oh
wow.
And then after, we'll see what the teams look at. And people are like, why are you guys doing it? If you know Buckeye history, you know. And then we have Penn State after Purdue. And then we have, which Penn State will be interesting too, because we'll see who starts there. Then we go to Wisconsin, Luke Fickell. Rutgers.
That's a tough 3 games.
Then at Rutgers versus Michigan. Michigan hasn't been much. Minnesota, shout out to Muhammad Ibrahim. He's gone.
Damn.
And then last game is at Michigan. Who, if you guys have not, people listening, their whole team, Blake Corum's coming back, if you did not know.
Yeah.
Their whole squad is coming back. The only one who we don't know is coming back is the coach.
What do you mean? He coming back?
No, he's been interviewing for NFL jobs.
Yeah, he just had a interview with the Broncos yesterday.
He coming back.
So
his whole ass is going to be back next year.
Wait, JJ McCarthy's coming back too?
He's only a sophomore.
That was JJ McCarthy's only a sophomore.
Yeah, we're in a problem.
I don't know why I thought he was older than that.
No, he's only a pure sophomore. Like, that's a problem.
Now, what's really a problem is his daddy touching his girl's butt. Oh, that's a problem.
Well, we left that out. And that, if you haven't seen that, check out the clip on Twitter and everywhere. It's out there. I don't know how
that is a problem.
Don't know how that fan.
Like, imagine like you lose a fucking game and you just standing on the field, and the next thing on Twitter isn't talking about your performance or the game, but the fact that your father is a pervert.
And he said, McCarthy said, "We'll be back." I think it's funny too because ESPN would do it. Like, once they put it on her for the first time, McCarthy's girlfriend, I'm like, oh, she is going to be on every play. And then I'm like, here we go. ESPN's about to make this woman famous. I'm pretty sure her social media blew up. And I'm pretty sure they've had some talks in the McCarthy house.
Probably.
Yeah, McCarthy is a sophomore, man, so we got to deal with him again. And potentially, if he doesn't get hurt, a fully healthy Blake Corum. He finished in the top 10 in the Heisman.
And we don't even know what we go. Oh Lord, this is not looking bueno.
We do have most of our offense returning.
Except
but who's getting them the ball?
I know. I'm just saying, like, whoever is the quarterback should have a really good offense to start.
Whoever's the quarterback, I'm gonna be that guy to say this. If you are ass, these people will leave because you are ass. Like, you only get looks when you catch the ball. And if you can't get them the ball, then why the fuck are they still here? They will leave.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be Kyle McCord. I mean, also, he was a top, like a 5-star. And also, he's Marvin Harrison's high school teammate. But that's another thing. We have the best. Potentially right now. Well, I can't even say he's the best player coming back because the Heisman Trophy winner's coming back. He is one of the top 5 best players coming back in college football next year, and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
But you're right. We don't know who's going to throw. We don't know how it's going to be. I'm going to say this right now. Give it time. Whoever it is, don't be trying to bench him after 2 games like you guys did CJ.
Well, wait, who are the first 2 games against? Indiana and who?
Indiana and
Youngstown
State. Listen, bro, I'm sorry. I will look to the people he just said, give him time. I'll listen to your complaints because that's Indiana and fucking Youngstown State.
Remember, they wanted CJ out of Ohio State in that Toledo game.
Yeah.
This isn't CJ Stroud, though.
We didn't know we knew. We said, relax. Well, because we lost to Oregon and then Toledo, we were down in half, and people were like, huh?
Yeah, but like that was Oregon.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, they had Thibodeau.
This is Indiana.
We'll see. I mean,
Indiana ain't done shit.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't have that pass happy. I mean, that year they had Penix. That was the closest. And Freifogel. That was the closest year they had beaten us. But we're gonna have to see. We'll see. That we have the whole off season and all of that. And
I'm just gonna throw this out here. Cornerbacks. We need cornerbacks.
Okay.
Right, we need all defensive backs, not just cornerbacks. We need safeties. Man, if you covering a route, please. Just please.
I know we got one transfer from, I think it was Syracuse. That's a safety that's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
And I think we have a freshman cornerback coming in that's supposed to be really good. We'll see. We'll see.
The thing is, like, they're all supposed to be really good because I mean, we get really high recruiting classes. Like, that's the thing I don't really trust is some of the development because these people we had top recruiting classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then niggas were getting toasted.
And
getting mossed. Like, so what the fuck does it even matter? Listen, like, there's a lot of opportunity. I think it like that. There's a lot of opportunity for you to make a name for yourself if you're willing to put in the work at Ohio State on defense as a defensive back. There's a lot of opportunity out there.
I agree. Like, I know we talked about that the last college football thing. Like, these ratings sometimes don't mean anything unless they produce. No. We're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, we have and I know a whole bunch of Ohio State fans are like, man, we are one field goal away. We would have beat TCU, would have won the title just because we only lost to Georgia by 1 and Georgia's beating TCU by 1,000,000. When you start thinking like that, then just remember that you're saying that, but TCU hung up 51 on Michigan.
And Michigan beat our ass.
Yep, and we couldn't even get 30
points.
So when I'm seeing Ohio State fans say that stuff, I was remember who TCU beat to get here.
Also, if it wasn't for Utah, we wouldn't even be there.
Correct. Shout out to Utah. Hey, their star quarterback's coming back.
Cam Rising, I like him.
He's coming back. So you're right. I mean, we didn't even earn settles. Like, we had to luck into it. So
all I gotta say is, man, y'all talk that shit now. Just wait. We getting 2 new teams here in a bit.
You'll see.
One of them,
UCLA.
Lincoln Riley's back.
I can't wait for that first OSU USC game. Oh my gosh. Oh man.
That's gonna be a good one.
She's gonna be at USC. Watch.
Probably.
Probably. No, that'll be in. Now, some people, depending on how the season goes this year, we might be going in there without Ryan Day.
Well, that's
True.
a possibility.
If we lose that game in Ann Arbor, you already know. And we don't get in the playoffs because of like
gone.
Which is crazy, but that 3 straight? Oh no.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna happen here.
Well.
Especially each game, the loss differential is getting worse.
So, the real question is going to be, I ask everyone every time, who's going to be after him? Because who else is out there?
I have no idea.
Well,
because they're going to have to do the interim thing. If you ain't got no big name, you're going to have to do the interim thing. Someone from the staff, you're going to have him flip. And pray to God that it works out.
And Luke just signed a big deal, so that's dead. Unless we want to buy him out from Wisconsin.
Oh, that's not happening.
Yeah.
He has integrity. He ain't going to do that.
Hopefully we don't get freaking woozy and it's freaking like Cliff Kingsbury.
Wow.
You know, the funny thing is, I thought of his name too. I was like,
Kingsbury.
Well, you never know.
A year from now, that Michigan game podcast, no matter what Michigan's record is at that point, when we preview that Michigan game, it's going to be real do or die for Day.
I hope next season he coaches like he did against Georgia. Just go balls to the wall. Yeah. Go aggressive. We need that Ryan Day now.
Hey, in defense, you got a whole year to work out, practice, all that jazz. Let's get it. Guys, what are your like top 3 like performances, like or moments from this year's college football as we wrap it up? What are some of your favorite performances?
I think number 1 overall for me is Jalen Hyatt.
Agreed.
Yep.
5 catches. Well, 6 catches, 5 touchdowns, like over 100 yards. Just insane. Nobody could cover that man.
Man, the records that were broken that day.
Yeah. Number 2 is probably the Maya Williams 5 touchdown game against, I think it was Maryland. That's number 2. I'm trying to think of a number 3.
My number 3, I mean, Cat Byron, I'm sorry, is the national championship game
Benson?
for me. Because, well, not even that, just Georgia as a whole.
Mm.
Okay.
Like, this is the national, like, I don't keep stats as far as, like, what's the highest score differential in the national championship game. I feel like it's Notre Dame when they only scored 3 points or whatever. But 65 points and the team only scored in the first quarter. Like, they literally shut them all the way out. It was 10-7. They scored 55 unanswered points. Like, that's fucking insane. Especially after the previous game, that team scoring 50 points.
Yeah. Oh, and Byron it was for highest thing. He was targeted 8 times, 6 catches, 207 yards.
Oh, 200. Okay, thank you.
And then the 5 TDs. And remember, he had that 78-yard long one.
Yes, sir.
So I had that one. I didn't actually think about the championship game. That was a good one. My one
I gotta give JJ McCarthy a shout out
against Michigan, against Ohio State.
Yeah,
he became a Michigan legend that game. He did. I mean, one that I really liked that I had on my list was JTT's game against Penn State. That was his coming out party on that defensive line. That is one of my favorite performances of the year.
Had no choice. Back was against the wall.
It really was. It really was. And he was getting fumbles, touchdowns, picks, like sacks. That was my favorite defensive thing, like high and stuff. Even though we lost, seeing like CJ Stroud do what he was doing against Georgia was making me sit there like, man, this is really the last game we're going to get of him. I really wish he came back. But there's a lot of great performances, man. I mean, Bryce Young had some, Caleb Williams, which shout out to Bryce Young and Will, and top 2 picks in the draft played their bowl game in this era the most don't, and wanted to finish off with their team. And I need everyone else to quit pissing off Nick.
That man is coming back with a vengeance next year.
Oh, he got money. He's ready for him. He got his pockets lined. He's like, oh, I was just saving you. I thought it was bad last time. Oh, just wait. I almost found my way back into the playoff. If it wasn't for LSU, I would have been there.
That is 100% facts.
Yep. Shout out LSU going for a 2-point conversion and winning the whole thing.
Texas. I mean, Alabama's schedule, their second game is against Texas.
Oh, they did it for the views.
And that's potentially not even going to be Quinn starting. That's going to be Manning starting potentially.
Yeah. Archie Manning.
What you mean? Come on now. They ain't going to do him like that.
And I'm just saying. Then after that, they got South Florida, then Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M, at Arkansas versus Tennessee, LSU, Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn.
I just love that they play their easiest game before they play their rival.
And then LSU, man. I mean, we're gonna see. I didn't expect them to win the SEC West. Shout out to them, especially after that first game against Florida State. They were ass, and then my family, he did it.
First year as head coach, got an SEC West championship.
Yeah. And then odds right now, Georgia's the favorite to three-peat, which that's crazy. Alabama's the second favorite, and Ohio State is the third favorite right now.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, I feel like with this Ohio State season, I know we were atop of it early when we were seeing like we were struggling like with yards against like Northwestern and all that stuff, but I feel like most people didn't catch our flaws until it was too late, until the Michigan game.
Yep. When they had to listen to us, they could have got it together.
Well, I agree, but they didn't, and Georgia's supreme again, and Kirby out there, back-to-back, 2 rings. Stenson Bennett went from a walk-on to JUCO to now a 2-time national champion.
2-time national champion. Now he's about to go.
Do you think he goes to the league? Do you think someone drafts him? Do you think someone takes a gamble
tough,
on him?
Man, I don't.
Do you think
so.
Someone takes a gamble on him?
I don't think so, man.
Like,
but
even late round stuff. Like, do you think someone takes a gamble on him?
I
said this to Martin and Patrick
which was
yesterday.
which is wild, but
I don't care. I don't. At this point, I don't care.
No!
I wouldn't be mad if the Saints somehow drafted him next year.
All right, good night. Y'all have a good time. Y'all have a good rest of the podcast. Like, Byron, what? Stop. just stop,
Emotions,
bruh. Like, no disrespect, Mr. Bennett the Fourth. I know there's like previous generations, but bruh, y'all can't protect shit. How y'all gonna protect him?
I know.
Like, he gonna be a rookie. Like, y'all gonna end his career before it starts. Y'all gonna turn out like, if y'all drafted him and he got hurt, y'all turn into the fucking Cleveland Browns. Like, out here injuring quarterbacks.
Well,
You're going through them and cycling through.
well,
Like, after the Browns lost Bernie Kosar, they didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep eyes on that. But I don't know, man. I mean, AJ McCarron even got in the league for like a year or two. I don't know. I think AJ.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know he's. Well, granted, AJ McCarron. Like, when you think those names, you think
I
like,
honestly thought that he got in because
these would be lottery picks, right? Like, well, I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. No one asked how you got here. It's just the fact that you are here. So, I just always wonder. I'm like, it's not like he plays bad football.
Mm-hmm.
I think he makes a lot of risky throws. I think that will get him in trouble in the NFL a lot. I think you would see a lot more turnovers from him. I think his movement in the pocket, he's quick to flush out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will get him in a lot of trouble. Like, he's not like agile or fast. He just makes good movements and had good downfield blocks when he's scrambling. I think if he tries to rely on that, his little ass will get cracked, and that will get him in trouble in the league. However, all that said, I can't sit here and deny the fact that this guy has won 2 national championships.
Mm-hmm.
And when he be playing football, he be throwing for almost over 300 yards a game, which is quasi insane. So, I mean, do you take a gamble and hope? You're not going to start him his rookie season. He's not going to be like a de facto piece to start out, but you mold him, you build him. Is that something that you're willing to risk it on? Because if anything else, if nothing less, the system in Georgia worked for him.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. We'll wait and see. Any other things as we wrap up the college football season?
I'm just excited to see where CJ Stroud and Bryce Young go.
Well, the Bears have a number 1 pick, so we know where they're not going.
Yes.
True.
I can imagine someone's going to Houston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just sitting here ready for the Will is so much better than CJ talk like they did to Justin Fields with Zach Wilson.
Oh man. Will Levis.
I'm just saying, you did that with our last OSU quarterback with Zach Wilson, and he might not even be on his team by the end of this year.
Oh, no, man. He tweeted, he said, whoever y'all try to bring in here, it's going to be hell for them. I'm going to put them through it every week. I don't know what he means, because it's like his ass going to be holding water bottles on the sideline. So unless he said that person's going to get dehydrated in practice, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, we'll see. Wow. With nothing else, man. Appreciate everyone who's listened to our college football podcast since August. August was our first one. August 20th, something like that. Yeah, something like that. And appreciate you coming on this weekly journey with us. We always have fun doing these, especially when shit just goes astray in college football, as it always does. So we appreciate that. And we will be back again in August talking college football. And yeah, you'll definitely hear all of us on different podcasts before then, though. But with that being said, this is the L7C podcast. Ohio State finishes the year 11-2. And yeah, hopefully next year we get rid of one more loss and get hopefully a championship. But with that being said, go Bucks. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.